good day. Beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking, you're always looking for and finding the good you found, good in abundance, because you tune in consciously and conscientiously to Eye on Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Notice I didn't say the ambassador of joy. The ambassador of joy. And we are just going to be, oh, are you happy today? Because you're going to be meeting one of the more interesting people in the world. You've heard his voice many times in different places. And we're going to talk about this new, powerful, amazing movie that he's the voice of, or one of the important voices of, called David. You've heard of David, right? You know, the famous David from the Bible and all this sort of stuff. Well, it's a movie. It's out there. It's animated. Okay, we're going to talk about that because why are we here? Because Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. Now, I'm privileged to speak to millions and millions of people around the world every month in my podcast. And whenever I mention two words, people lean in, open up their ears and eyes, say, tell me more. Las Vegas, because that's where I live, right outside of Las Vegas. Let me tell you two things about Las Vegas. Amazing. Number one, I just told you, it's not just about gambling and sex. It's the entertainment capital of the world these days. Number two, if you take the entire population of New York City and everybody around it, the entire population of Chicago and everybody around it, the entire population of Los Angeles, everybody around it, and you add in the entire population of the state of Florida, it doesn't equal the number of people that come through and for Las Vegas in a year. 41 million people come here because it is filled with energy. And one of the most energetic, interesting people you'll ever have the pleasure of speaking with is with us right now. His name is Brian Stivale. Brian, please say hello to 531,917 people around the world.
Hello to everybody. I can't come in with anything less than that after your energy. Are you kidding me? And I love Las Vegas.
Thank you, wonderful Brian.
I'm a gambler. Go there for the entertainment and the food, amazingly enough. There's so much of it.
Look, it's so true. It's so amazing. This place is pulsating with goodness and things. It's sports, it's entertainment, it's hustle and bustle in the most positive, purposeful, pleasant way. And we're going to talk about that because that's who you are, Brian. Just again, if you've heard his voice, if you're listening, you'll say, "I heard that voice." If you're watching, you'll say, "Hey, he's an interesting guy." He's a musical, TV, film, game, and commercial voice actor, and he lives outside of Los Angeles, and He's an advocate for the ambassador of the state of Israel. He and his wife teach Hebrew, and he has a wonderful church called King of Kings in Los Angeles, but it's broadcast all over the world. I mean, he's a happening guy. And he was tapped to be the voice of somebody important in the great movie that's about to be released. And the movie is called David, D-A-V-I-D. Hello. Now, I will tell you, Brian, we have a listening audience that spans the world. We have hundreds of thousands of people listening from Bangladesh and India and Pakistan that they're not as familiar with David as Christians and Jews are.
Sure.
Just every people know. Can you give us, from your perspective, something about David that would intrigue people?
Well, it's the greatest underdog story ever told. And if you're a sports fan of any kind, and I know you mentioned India and some areas of the world where cricket's big, I guarantee somebody somewhere has used the metaphor. It's a real David versus Goliath scenario here, And so that is what you might know David from. But otherwise, he is the most important king in the history of Israel. And in fact, if you're a Christian, or if you value the fellow whose birthday we're celebrating shortly, Jesus, you'd know that he sits on King David's throne, and he's from the actual lineage of that King David, who was raised in his city, Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. So there's a lot to this that you might not know, but the story of David is an important one, and it usually stops with retellings. Any of the renditions that have been done before, save House of David, which is a really wonderful project, very realistic. It usually stops on the battlefield in Elah with David versus Goliath. That's the end of the story usually. We end with the young shepherd boy, David. But this film, this epic musical adventure, and it's a film, it's more than a movie. It's really art. It's beautiful. The detail, the orchestrations, the cinematography. It really, it's worth everybody going to see it. But this story goes beyond David and Goliath into some of David's adult life and shows us this man who, because he had a heart after God, could fail and fall down and make human decisions like you and me make, and like everybody else that's listening make, and get back up and keep going, not just get stuck in their problem and stay there, and that's the real message of this. Is it's an entertaining, inspiring story of the underdog in all these different situations coming out of it because of God being on his side and fighting the battles for him.
I want to unpack a couple of things you just mentioned here. Number one, the E word. It's an experience. It's not just a movie. It is soundtrack. It will touch your inner being and make you move and understand. And the other thing is, I think you just said so brilliantly, the genius of the Bible and the genius of the reality of David is that we're humans and we're imperfect and we fall. And there's a great phrase in Proverbs, I'll say in the original Hebrew, because Sheva Yipol Sadik V'Kam. 7 times a righteous person falls and gets up. That's the genius you're talking about.
Yeah. I said, Ken, Nachon, hallelujah. Okay, 100% with you. That is one of my favorite proverbs, because that is really the model of David. And you're right. The Bible isn't full of perfect people. Honestly, I actually heard a Hollywood director say, if the Bible were rated, it'd be NC-17. And I said, you're probably right, because there's a lot of failing humans in this thing, because that's who we are. That's the story we tell. We're in a fallen world. We're fallen people. We're not perfect. So what a better message to send, especially to little kids in this day and age, that, if you fail once, you're not canceled. We live in cancel culture where you screw up, you're online, forget it, it's over. David would have a heyday in this day and age. He'd probably be like, yeah, well, that happened. Right. And move on. But that's his life story from the very beginning. He's doubted, it's a little shepherd boy, but David wasn't fighting Goliath. God was. God was always fighting on David's behalf, because David's shepherd was God. So he could be a failure. He could be a normal guy, normal human being. But the almighty God of Israel was the one who was his shepherd. So while David was a shepherd, he was always being shepherded by God. And I think that's a beautiful thing for us as human beings to walk our everydays with. Hey, I may trip, but I get up 7 times again, as you say.
I want to play on this, and just because you just touched me very deeply. Oh. Part of what happens here is sometimes people look and say, well, that's good for David. However, wait a minute. God's on my side also.
Right. That rebel.
God is as much involved in your life as he is and was in David's life. Is that fair to say, Brian?
Very much so. And that is the message of this film. And I hate putting it in the box of, traditional, family Christian movie or whatever they're going to categorize faith and family as. It's a great tale. And David is a very, very unique story. I mean, so much so that Michelangelo made him one of the many figures that he immortalized in stone, in marble. And so this bears repeating. But there's such a God element to this. You cannot tell the story of David without telling the story of God in David's life. And it's such a refreshing thing nowadays, because in Hollywood it's so taboo to talk about God. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just foolishness. We're introducing all this non-family friendly stuff. Excuse me. And there is a wealth of audience members out there, families, parents, grandmas and grandpas, who want to take everybody to the movies, want to be able to go corporately like we used to do when it was cinema, when it was a thing, when it was a big deal to go out in public. And they want to know that they're not going to sit their kids down to get a brainwashing in the opposite negative direction for agendas that they're not driven by, that don't edify them, that don't build them up, that tell them if they're not weird and off, they're wrong. And maybe because they have doubts, they're completely lost unless they do the thing that is not the right thing to do. I'm trying to do this in a very politically sound way, but you get my point. It's not the kind of food we need to be filling our kids with. And this is a story that, because it's Bible basis, is so beautiful and true to that human form. It's worth telling in the movie theaters, and especially in a big screen in a corporate setting, because we're meant to laugh together, we're meant to cry together, we're meant to have a good time together. And I feel like we've been kind of put in a reclusive spot between streaming and COVID. And there's a lot of reclusivity in our society. And I think that there's something to the assembling of ourselves together.
You've made some very important points, and I want to emphasize a couple of them. Number one, what I call the 4 Ps, and we talk about often: positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant.
Oh, I like that.
Say
that again. Say that again. I want to soak that in.
Okay. Positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant.
Oh, I love that.
This is what you just expressed to me. And I love the ability to be together with others, even especially others you don't know, hundreds of people assembled in a big screen environment. Let's be blunt. Certain things work on what my wife calls the rectangle.
Sure.
And most of the time it doesn't. In other words, a little clip here and there. Not this. Experience it in a big screen environment. Look forward to it. Tingle with it. Feel the 4 Ps, the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant essence of it. Let's talk about one of the great characters in the film, because it's a great character in the Bible. And we call him Shmuel, known as
Samuel. Yeah, sure.
Samuel. Talk to us about Samuel. Who is Samuel?
Well, Samuel is my favorite prophet. I know you're probably not supposed to assign favorites in the Torah, but he's the coolest one. He's the most militant, in my opinion, of all of the prophets. He deals with the Amalekite king very promptly and swiftly. That's not in the movie. It's safe for kids. Don't worry. There's no chopping up of Amalekite if you know the history. If you don't, that happens. But no, he's such an incredible figure, because if you think about Samuel's history, which none of this touches on, I wish they would do something in the future. And they may well, who knows, with the way that Sunrise and Angel work, they're brilliant. Samuel was a unique situation because as a baby, he was dedicated to the temple, as you know. His mother was barren. She prayed to God, if you give me a child, I'll dedicate him to the service of the temple. And so much, here I am, Lord. Samuel's life, he was raised by priests in the temple to know the way of the Lord. And so he's steeped in it from day one. And so, of course, as a Nevarim, as a prophet, he gets to be this because he was built up in it. God was present in every day of his upbringing. So every moment of his life ordained. It's a complicated story because I know Samuel's heart was God's heart as well. So you say David had a heart after God. Of course, Samuel also had a heart very much so after God, and a zeal for God as well, almost to a fault. And I believe that when God wanted to be king over Israel, it grieved Samuel just as much as it grieved God's heart to know that they'd rather have a guy. They'd rather have a man be king. And so when Saul was chosen, there was great hope invested in that. I felt that in the midst of the role. It's a wonderful... it's really, it's almost both ends of the spectrum are being played at the same time because there's such great love and hope and future in David and anointing David and seeing this will truly be the king that Israel needs versus Saul. What a disappointment. You were the king that Israel needs. And then your flesh got involved. To obey is better than sacrifice. Don't you think beyond your own flesh? And he's portrayed so wonderfully in this film. Actually, I want to take a moment, if I can, just say.
This is perfect. By the way, this is perfect.
We have 2 Davids. We have a young David and an adult David. Our young David. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're on a cliffhanger. So,
cliffhanger.
Yeah, because we have sponsors that love our show. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Don't go away. We wouldn't have to. Be right back. Opportunity. What an opportunity. I'm going to use 2 4-letter words right now. Free gift. Free gift. Yes, you can have a copy of my best-selling book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, the ebook version for absolutely free. All you have to do is send an email to me, Barry, Barry, at barryshore.com, and in the heading, the subject line, just write free gift. It's as easy as that. This is a life-changing, life-enhancing opportunity. Barry at barryshore.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Free gift. Do it now. Take the action. Make it happen right now. Best wishes. Bye. Good day. Beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Good-looking because I was looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Brian. He is one of the great voices of this remarkable experience. Some people call it a movie. We're calling it a remarkable experience called David. It must be felt, must be seen with the whole family. It means father, mother, brothers and sisters, grandparents, uncles. Yeah, bring 30 people. Be very Italian, be very Irish, be very Jewish. Just bring people to the theater and experience the big screen. So we're here now talking about a pivotal figure, Samuel the prophet, who anointed King Saul. Saul, unfortunately, has a flaw that he couldn't overcome. It was his ego. And now God says, I have somebody else for you that really can be the king of Israel, because his role will be in service to Israel. And that's the king we want. His name is David.
Yes, yes. And David in this film, as you mentioned so lovingly, hey, audience, who doesn't love Bear? Come on, this is you are full of joy, like truly, and happiness is fleeting. You're full of joy, and I love it because it's present all the time. I get to play the prophet Samuel in this, and it was one of the great blessings of my life. Of all of the roles I've played, and I've been privileged to do thousands of things professionally, this is the one that means the most to me. It's dearest to my heart. This story is dearest to my heart. I'm an ex-resident of Jerusalem. My wife and I are official goodwill ambassadors to the state of Israel. We love the land and the people, everybody, all of them. And we especially want to see this story told, but I'm privileged to play Samuel. While we have two Davids, we have a young David to cover his young shepherd side of his life, the innocence of that. And then he switches to adult David. There's a transitional period that works really wonderfully, where it goes from the brilliant Brandon Ingman as young David, who also was David in our Young David series preceding the movie that Angel also built. I encourage you to check that out. And then our adult David transition turns into a modern day David, recording artist and gospel incredible sensation, Phil Wickham, who really does have the heart of David as a human being. I know him personally. He's a great human being. He really does love the Lord, and worship is his life. In fact, it's ironic. He is really doing very well in the Christian music market, but the reason why is 99% of what he publishes are Psalms. And I think there's something to that. You know, when we these songs about ourselves, when they really are from Psalms or inspired by Psalms, and they truly sing of the glory of the Lord, and pay homage to God, there's something beautiful about that. But then the rest of our cast is also so gifted. And Adam Gold, our Saul, has just got the right amount of insanity and rage. And then
wait a minute. I want to just spend passionate. Brian is now singing the praises of the other people.
Oh, I love the people I worked with.
The movie. In other words, this is not just, first of all, a movie. It has an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's inspirational. It probably will come out as a CD because it's something that...
It's actually already out. You can go to all the streaming platforms, and it's on Sony Music already. We have a wonderful album put together, and then the entire score comes out on the 19th.
Woo!
That's the real film. Yeah, and we're actually, we had our screening at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and we're very well received, considering it was Angel Studios production. They're the distributor, and they don't have favorable eyes in Hollywood. But you know, I speak prophetically about this, and you know, I sing the praises of my cast members, the animators, the directors, the producers, everybody involved, especially Angel, because they all believe in this, and it's over 450 people in 30 countries around the world that all have a singular goal in this, and that's seeing God blessed, seeing people uplifted and entertained, and seeing something really beautiful told this holiday season and then beyond. We're going to be premiering all the way through next year. I think our Japanese premieres in New Year's on 2027. So David's going to be around for a while. Our hope is that it has the staying power and the classic appeal of Prince of Egypt. It's made with the same heart. I believe that Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen paid a tithe to God in honor, tzedakah, if you will, to make that movie. So DreamWorks would be blessed, and they have been. And I believe this has the same spirit, that same soul food that people need and have lacked for 22 years.
So I believe, first of all, I love this idea of hope being part and parcel of the movie. HOPE is a great acronym. It stands for helping others progress every day.
I've heard that before, and I love that too. You've got great acronyms.
And that is the driving force here, David. Like you said, Angel Studios is a remarkable place to
Yes.
be able to bring together hundreds of people. Like you said, 450 people
Well,
focused.
just Sunrise Animation, Angel actually has an even wider net of people around the world working for them on multiple projects at any given time. And right now, as you know, they're working in the office to connect people like you and I so that we can share this story with the world. And that's just a sliver. That's one brilliant human being out of so very many, a vast army making this all happen.
And then the beauty of what you mentioned about being focused on what I call an idea that leads to an ideal. In other words, we're dealing, what's the ideal? The ideal is that people should know about the Bible.
Yes.
Because in today's world, there are forces of darkness against
Very
the
much.
forces of light. By the way, just like it was throughout history, and it
Sure.
was even in David's time,
Of course.
the forces of darkness are always there. The genius and the beauty of this, I hesitate to call it a story, of the reality of David is that we not only can, we do overcome, because we need to understand that the Lord is on our side when we're fighting for good. Am I correct on that?
I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And the message of the Bible is it's our story. It's a story of hope. And I mean, if you imagine, we're in it technically. We're still writing the book of Acts. We're really included into God's plan, and especially understanding Jewish roots. You know, I like to say this, and I hope I don't offend anybody. But if I do offend you, facts don't care about your feelings.
Go ahead, offend.
So Jesus was not a Christian. Mary was not a Catholic. John was not a Baptist. They were all Jews. They all lived in Israel. They all lived in Judea. They all understood Jewish law. They all lived out. Jesus fulfilled Jewish prophecy. In fact, the entire Bible was written or inspired by Jewish culture, by Jews. And so what we are a part of, if you're a Gentile, and hey, listen, I have Jewish blood, but if you're a Gentile, you're adopted into that. So it's not this picture of the Jesus that we typically see in the West. It is the root of Jesse that he comes from, and that's why this story is so very important. If you believe in the reason for the season, then you have to believe that he came from the root of Jesse and is of the line of David, and that even today he sits upon the throne of David. That's so very important. I think a lot of people overlook that, gloss it over. Why is that important? Because David was, without a doubt, the most important figure as a king in the history of Israel, and biblically speaking. And because of him, we have every other thing that fell out. I mean, if you look at his grandmother, the destiny attached to him, his great grandmother was Ruth. So I mean, there's so much attached to the bloodline.
This is so important that you add. Okay, we're only going to talk about one moment for what you said, because very few people know that his great grandmother was Ruth.
Yeah, not a bad story right there. She's got her own book.
Yeah, and I believe one of the benefits of the movie and what it will do, the ripple effect that will go on for generations, I hope, is that it will get people interested in looking at other pieces of the Bible.
Yes.
And becoming aware that there is something here that is true, that is good, that is foundational for the United States of America.
Absolutely. And we're in an era of change in the United States where the heart of the hungry is for God. It is for family. It is for recentering our focus back on what's righteous, the good report, rather than living in this very strange counterfeit that has been forced upon us. And it's so unique. And I want to leave you with this if I can. One of the biggest messages of the movie is about the unity of Israel, the unity of people, not being alone, togetherness. There's a song, I Will Not Be Afraid. And every time in the history of Israel, every time in the history of humanity where there's division, where there is a separation and there is not unity and there is aloneness, there's an attack from the enemy. And particularly if you look at Israel's history, it was always the Amalekites who came in and they still to this day, the spirit of Amalek lives and prospers, and we see anti-Semitism hitting a fever pitch, much like it was even in the times of Nazi Germany. And that's ridiculous to think about in the 21st century, but it's a truth. And this movie actually, believe it or not, even though it's a family-friendly movie and deals with a structure that's safe for everybody, especially kids, it does speak to Ziklag being like unto October 7th, and the Israelites only getting everything back to normal, getting everything back to God's wholeness through unity. And we need to consider that, we need to unify. We have been forced to separate as a nation. We've been forced to separate as a people. And God would not have us alone. It started in Genesis. He said, it's not good that man would be alone. And they want us to be separated so they can keep us alone. If they can keep us alone, they can keep us quiet and in line. And that's not the plan of God. The stronger group is the together group, the unified group.
The genius of the United States of America is that it, at least for its founding, we recognize that we are a biblically oriented country based on what we
100% agree with you.
values.
It's a fact. And anybody who argues against it just does not understand their history or has only read a qualified version or a rewritten version of history. This United States that we live in was founded by people who built everything, all of our documentation, every framework of our Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, based on Judeo-Christian godly principles. In fact, if you look at the history, Jefferson was corrected by Franklin and Adams because it was too Christianese in its verbiage. So they changed some very key phrases to be more generic, to say, what if people don't know God yet? But the premise was always, we're still going to operate under Judeo-Christian laws and premises, which is why I think in modern society, the more we have, and forgive me for going this direction, but I think it's important, the more we have cultures that don't understand Judeo-Christian values or operate under another system of laws like the Quran, they do not adapt well to our belief systems. They will not enculturate and therefore become actually more of a barrier, more of God's enemy, because they throw the culture into what they want rather than the godly culture that we were built upon. And I believe that if you come to the United States, you're coming here because you have a dream. You're coming here because I wish that was always the intention. And I believe we should get back to that heart, and everybody wanting it to be a place where we all do well, where you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps and have hope, because we're not alone.
On this high note, we are not alone, and I'm going to share with you something, Brian, you're going to love. The word ALONE has been mispronounced for many centuries. You ready?
Okay.
Because ALONE really should be pronounced all one.
I like that. That's good. That's good. I'm going to actually need to keep in touch with you, Barry, so I can continue to get these incredible acronyms and inspiration from you. What a joy it is talking to you about this. I really encourage everybody to go to the movies and see David on starting December 19th, and only in theaters. We're not streaming right away for that reason. So
Good.
People go corporate setting.
Right.
It'll be going to be a mainstay. Come and see it.
Yeah, the big screen and feel the power. This is what it's all about. And David,
Cinema.
Yes. Oh, cinema. And David is almost the perfect, short name, easy to remember. And wow, look at that, mom and dad. And mom and dad can gain as much as young Jimmy and Johnny and Joey and Abdul and anybody else.
Yeah, all of them. All those kids.
Brian, I'm loath to say the words I'm about to say. We're coming to a close on our time together. I have 3 quick questions for you. You ready?
You go.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Number 2, Brian, you have 80 seconds to answer this question.
Okay.
What is your most fervent desire?
My most fervent desire is to see my 2 sons of thunder, Benjamin and Gabriel, and my beautiful wife, Jenny, prosper as their souls prosper on a daily basis, that they're lifted up every day, and that they are just full of the presence of God and wealth and comfort, and to have enough to be a blessing to other people all their lives. That's my most fervent desire. And to see that for every one of the people that God has put in my life.
Amen. And number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 531,900 people around the world?
I would love that.
Let me tell you what HUG stands for. Ready?
Okay.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving. 1, 2, 3.
I feel the love. I really do.
And Barry,
I feel the love. Thank you, Barry.
Sure, and thank you for tuning in to Ion Las Vegas. Remember, this show is not about Brian, great guy that he is, or Barry, great family. So it's about you. Y-O-U. You become the best you. You wanted to be the best you? Go and experience and see David. And we have a blessing from Brian and Barry. It is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Brian, don't go away.